Some of you can relate to what I'm going to say, some of you can't because you're still blessed with youth. But what you have to know is that my mom was never well. She was really sick as a kid. She wasn't supposed to live through high school, actually. She had rheumatic fever. She was very, very unhealthy. And she made it through high school, and then she got married, divorced, married my father, and was told not to have any kids. And then she had me. And then she had my brother Steve. And then she had my brother Christopher. Some of you know about Steve, but most of you don't know about Christopher. Christopher had Down syndrome. He was born in '61, and back then, you didn't talk about that. And then a year and a half later, because he had so much heart defect, he died. He passed. So in 1963, what else happened in the country that was horrendous?
Kennedy.
Every time I ask that question, everybody gets it right. That's how horrible that was. My mom grew up Catholic, so she lost her baby, and she lost her the leader of her faith and the leader of our country. So she had a horrendous time with that. And she just plummeted. Her health just disintegrated. She became manic depressive. So as a little guy, I got to watch my mom. She drank like crazy. She smoked like crazy. She was hooked on Valium. She swelled up like a giant balloon. It was just horrible. Trying to get better. And as a little guy, I'm just watching that. And it was a horrible challenge. And then fast forward about 9 years later, that was 1974. That day, actually it was the next morning, when my dad said, "Don't tell anybody Mom's in the hospital again." And then the next morning at 4 o'clock, the phone rang. It was the old phone with the cord on the wall. And I heard my dad just start to scream and just start to bawl because my mom died that night. And she was 38 years old. And she was gone in a day. And I was 15. My dad was 42. My little brother was 15. And that just was so unbelievably impactful. No kidding, to me. It just made me start to answer all those deep questions, like how does that even happen? How does somebody go away? And so underneath my college career and then in chiropractic, and I just held on to that question, like how does that happen, and how do you prevent it if you can, or you just doomed? So underneath it, that's what keeps driving me, because of the sick people. We never heard about chiropractic. As weird as that's going to sound, some of your brains are going to just start to think like, what does a chiropractic have to do with that kind of a sick person? But nobody shared it. It was always neck pain, back pain, and headache. But that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me wanting to learn. Because the more people that we can get a hold of, we can change the trajectory of not just of your musculoskeletal, but of your health. But that's Mom. So I just want to introduce to you a couple things. One is this chronic disease. We just have to recognize that we're horrendously sick as a country. We're horrendously sick as a species. These are the top chronic diseases in the United States. And I won't have you raise your hand, but most of us have some of these, or one of these, or a few of these. And then that's what eventually winds up killing us. One of the saddest things is that we have the sickest young people in the world. We have the sickest teenagers. I had a patient last week share. She went to a funeral the week before. She just shared that the funeral was for a kid that had killed himself, which is just horrendous. The parents somehow were able to share during that service, and they said that what the statistics show now is that the group of kids, the group of age group of who are committing suicide, the greatest increase is between 10 and 14 years old now. You know? So again, just watching my mom and then just watching sick people, and then to see these statistics, I'll go over and over what Dr. Chestnut presents. We have a serious problem. So I want to lay that groundwork because what we've been doing isn't working, and they just continue to rise. And if we're just honest with ourselves, I started in the beginning. I didn't finish that. Some of the things I'm going to share are going to be against what your brain is used to hearing. So I want to pause for a second and say this. Some of you I've told this, I've shared this with, but it's I'm going to shift the gear. So I'm going to mess with your head for a second, and then we'll come back, all right? Because it's going to drive a point home, and it's important that we do that. So sometimes when I talk, I'll share with folks, I'll say, this is a brain teaser. So a farmer had 30 cows and 28 chickens. How many didn't? And if I wait, there's laughter. And then if I wait a little longer, everybody starts to get ticked off. Because I said a farmer had 30 cows and 28 chickens. How many didn't? And then I won't stay there too long. But because your brain heard me say a farmer had 30 cows and 28 chickens, how many didn't? That's what your brain heard. But what I said was that a farmer had 30 cows and 28 chickens, how many didn't? Dan, I can see you getting upset already. So it's kind of fun if I hang out there because it's disturbing. But the point is, how our brains associate things, right? So when I said a farmer had 30 cows, that's a number. So your brain is preconditioned to just wait for the next number. So when I said 28, it wasn't the number. The farmer had 30 cows and 20, the number 20, 8, A-T-E. Oh. The answer is 10. Oh. And then if I wait long enough, some wisecracker will always say, oh yeah, well cows don't eat chickens. Somewhere I bet they do. The point is though, we're so conditioned that we just don't listen anymore. So some of the things I'm going to share with you are going to go against that. I'm just going to preface that. Okay? So those are the chronic diseases. Did you know that